Let's have a quick conversation about how to approach retail stores to sell your product this year. So here's the introduction I want you to pay attention to. First of all, when we talk about approaching retail stores to sell your product, you got to really have a clear strategy when it comes to selling wholesale to retailers. Okay, there are a number of key differences between retailers and other non-retail wholesale customers. One thing for sure, retail stores have bigger overheads due to costs like rent, sales staff, fixtures, signage, furnishings, and more. The cost to start a retail store is at least 5 to 10 times higher than online-only retailers. Retail stores generally hold more stock on hand. The larger the retail chain, the more organized their procurement will be, that's for sure. Product appearance is very important when you talk about brick and mortar retail. The margins are thinner, and foot traffic and profit per square meter are important figures to monitor in retail stores. And so, what do retail stores focus on? Well, the main focus for retail stores is really maximizing their foot traffic, aka bringing customers in the door, right? Because that's how you actually increase your revenue, especially when you think about your AOV. And in terms of driving traffic through the store itself, the retail stores do a couple of things. For example, they have a store positioning, running sales, stocking desirable product lines, and reward programs. And so when we talk about store positioning, this is actually an important element because you got to really choose a good location. Because I mean, if you're somewhere, if you are in a city where nobody goes to, or like in a neighborhood where nobody goes to, you're not going to actually have a right geography here. And also running sales. I mean, 20% off, 30% off. Why do you think retail sales are always asking you to pitch in, right? 20% off, 30% off, because they know that this actually increases food traffic. Food traffic is really important. Also, you got to really stock desirable product lines. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy anything from your store because, hey, listen. And also, don't forget the reward programs. Reward programs are really important because you want to actually solidify the attachment that prospects and customers have vis-a-vis your retail stores. So that's very important. So when a retail store succeeds in bringing enough foot traffic in the door, the profit usually follows. The profit and of course the AOV. Now let's talk about the strategy here. So how do you sell wholesale to retailers? Basically, selling wholesale to retailers is a little bit different from selling directly to consumers, right? Retailers have different needs and they will want to examine your product to see if it's a good fit before stocking it or making a large order. Remember, those retail stores, they usually need to stock desirable product lines, and they tend to have they tend to hold inventory, a lot of inventory on like in stock, right? So they have to be really careful. So there are three primary ways to approach retailers: in person, head office meetings, or direct mail. Let me just go a little granular here. So when we talk about in person, you take your wholesale products and show them in person so that the retailer can see what they're like. Head office meetings, you take your wholesale products to the head office of a conglomerate or a major buyer to be considered. And you have direct mail. You directly contact the retailers to ask if they will stock your products. And so the thing is that let's go. So when you talk about in person, you have to demonstrate and sell. If you want to be a hands-on business owner, you definitely need to consider actually visiting the retail stores that you are trying to recruit as customers. In-person visits have a number of benefits. You can demonstrate the product. They can feel the product and use it. People find it harder to say no when you are standing right there. And you also have the second strategy, head office, the top-down approach. So for large groups of retail stores or retail chains, you will need to approach the head office of the group directly. Often these chains will have a group procurement, so it's really a matter of finding out who and how their internal structure is set up and who you will need to talk to. And getting in touch with the right people might be tricky, but you can often start at the store level by talking, let's say, to a store manager and asking lots of questions. And 9 times out of 10, you will get the details you need directly from them. That's an important element to think about. And one thing I want to say here is that you have to be consistent, though. I mean, it's all about your reputation, right? All about your reputation. And if you're not sure what the group company is called, they often list it in the footer of the retail store's website. You can then plug that company name into LinkedIn and find the connections that you need to you need to have. Conducting research like this is really important because you need to be sure you are talking to the right person. You're talking to the right decision makers, and because otherwise you'll be just wasting your time. And schedule appointments ahead of time and make sure you are well prepared for the meeting. Take along products for a demonstration and free samples and give them everything they need to know before making a decision. Third thing is you want to write an introduction letter to retail buyers. That's actually direct mail, the direct mail approach. So using direct mail is a scalable way you can attract retail stores as wholesale customers. And what happens here is that you have to be really consistent, but also have a perfect copy. So if you write an introduction letter to retail buyers along with sending them a sample of your product, you are sure to get their attention. And it's a process often called lumpy mail. The theory is that if you send the right person something that looks odd-shaped in the mail, and if that parcel is personally addressed, it will be more likely to be opened and considered. And what happens here is that manufacturers are actually competing against other players. And manufacturers have used the free sample approach to distributors for years, and you can adapt it to your level as well. And by sending, for instance, a free sample you are basically giving them something tactile that they can feel and use, which is better than just looking at pictures and videos, right? You want to have something tangible. So when a company by a written introduction letter to retail buyers that is personalized to them, it can be a very powerful way to generate leads at scale. Remember, you got to personalize the letter. Okay, it's not gone are the days of having generic letters. You want to have personalized letters. So to make direct mail successful for your business, follow those 3 rules. You want to research and personalize, you want to send daily, and you want to follow up. So research and personalize means what? Direct mail works best when you personalize it to the recipients. Send daily. So consistency is key if you want a good lead flow. And follow up. Always follow up with a phone call a few days after you know the parcel was delivered. So that's an important element. So that way you are consistent, and that way they know that you are serious about this too. So we're gonna put a simple introduction letter on the screen. Okay, so basically we're gonna put this on the screen, the subject line, the suggestions. Okay, so just make sure that you are asking the right person to speak with. Okay, all those things. We're gonna put all this information on the screen so you have a clear idea how to actually word your introduction letter. If you have any question, let us know, and we can even email you this letter. We can email it to you. So let me talk to you about the techniques here. So what are the techniques for selling? So unless you are an experienced sales rep, knowing exactly how to pitch your product to a store might seem a bit daunting, a bit discouraging, and to be honest, it's probably going to be something you'll learn on the job, because it's one of those things where the pros and cons, it's a process of A/B testing. So knowing the right way to pitch your product to a store will give you a leg up if you don't know how to do face-to-face sales. And if you do know how to sell, the following will serve as a refresher and help you formulate your plan. So the first thing you have to think about is you need to really get in the door. Get a foot in the door. It's all about being present. It's all about being there. It's all about being seen. Okay, so you have to really understand. Basically, when you think about approaching retail stores, you have to be able to pitch your products with face-to-face sales, right? And because you want to really increase your leads, that's for sure. Now, there are a few things you need to think about as well, especially when it comes to solidifying your strategy, right? Be proactive and suggest 2 to 3 potential dates and times, eliminating needless back and forth. It's one of those things where you do not want to actually have emails over and over and over. Use a calendar scheduling app like Calendly and tell them that you are in the area, even if you're not. The second thing you want to do is you want to know your product and conduct a great product demonstration. You have to know your product in and out. If you're trying to really sell a product, you got to really know the product. So demonstrating a product is incredibly powerful. And you want to really customize your demonstration to them. Every customer is different, so do your research. And you want to tell a story. So people relate better if you involve the product in a story. You want to rehearse. Good sales reps prepare and rehearse the delivery multiple times. Don't try to really Don't try to really like improvise. No, you want to test everything beforehand. So if your product has a possibility of breaking down, make sure you test it and make sure that it's all working before you walk in the door. Remember, you only have one chance. It's all about the first impression always counts, and you want your first impression to be really great. And close the deal. Asking is something a lot of people forget to do. So the best time to ask for the sale is right after the demo. You are there to get the sale. Next, you want to use a product sales sheet and leave that with them when you leave. It's important. And so when a product, what is a product sales sheet? The thing is that you have all kinds of product sales sheets. Some can be complex, some can be simple. Everything revolves around the product you're trying to sell, the geography you're in, and also the target audience you're talking to, the retail store that you're trying to pitch to. So, but overall, when you think about a product sales sheet, it's basically a single piece of paper that tells your customer the key benefits of the product along with details on how to order. Basically, it's like, you know, your product has pros and cons, right? But you are going to remove the cons and only focus on the pros, and basically also put your contact number so that basically if they are interested, they get back to you a lot faster. So a product sales sheet should clearly and concisely explain your product and its purpose. Don't try to really write like a paragraph and then to write an entire book. No, one paragraph or two paragraphs should be enough. And you want to keep the product sales sheet benefits focused. Okay, so you want to really it means that the person, actually, you want to tell the person what benefits your products give customers instead of just listing the facts and features of your product. And the heading of your product sales sheet should likewise focus on the key benefit. For example, if you had a cream that treats plantar warts, your hairline should be scientifically proven to get rid of plantar warts in 3 weeks or less. That's just an example, but it's all about the benefits, right? And if you want to use some sort of jargon in the industry, you will say value added. What kind of value is your product adding? And you want to break up the text. So instead of writing as much as you can to fit into your sales sheet, you want to use bullet points, shorter paragraphs, subheads, customer quotes, and call out sections to break up the text and give some life to your design. And don't forget the CTA, the call to action, very important. And so call to action, now is your time to ask for the sale. Don't be shy. Above average salespeople always ask for the sale. If you're not specifically asking people to order your product, you'll be missing your opportunity. This is exactly what your product sales sheet is for. Make a special call out box just for your call to action. It should draw the attention immediately. Make it another color, bold the text, give it space, whatever you have to do to draw the eye. That's what you need to do. Next, you want to think about plan B. What if you can't secure a meeting and need to sell over email, letter, or video conference call? The question is, you have to really ask yourself, what is your target audience? Because if you do proper research, you'll have a clear idea about the habits, about the routine that your potential demographics follow, right? So that'll tell you whether or not you want to go, let's say, via email, letter, or video conference. I mean, during COVID, a lot of retail stores were actually using video conference calls, Zoom and Skype and what have you. So this is important. Now, if your product is physical, then demonstrating is a very wise move, that's for sure. Because doing it remotely might even be impossible, especially if the product itself is really physical. You can send samples and literature, but closing the sale via in-person demonstration is always going to be more effective. Why do you think even software providers, they give you a demo, right? Because they know that you can increase your likability, or you can increase your attraction to the product by actually seeing the product live. And so that's important. And so it's definitely worth exploring, especially if your customers are spread across large geographic locations. If you actually have, let's say, if you're covering the whole Northeast or the whole West Coast, you have several states or several countries for that matter. You're going international. Then you have to think about the strategy that will help you actually pitch to those retail stores, but also pitch to them in a cost-effective manner. So once you are more established and you have retailers coming to you instead of the other way around, You might be able to reduce the number of in-person meetings you need to do and or hire someone to focus on them for you. And because then you can start thinking about scalability, because once you're more established, the next move will be for you to think about scalability, and that's where you can actually increase your AOV. You can increase your profit also. So that's really an important element to think about. Let me give you some extra info here. So basically, can you be both a wholesaler and a retailer? I mean, in other words, can a business be both a wholesaler and a retailer? Yes, you definitely can run your business as both a wholesaler and a retailer. This just means that you sell to both consumers and other retail businesses. It's a very smart thing to do because it really expands your reach in the market further than if you were just a retailer yourself. Now think of it as creating a team of people to expand the reach of your products, and this is kind of cool. And now, if you were to go that way, how much should you actually pay retailers for selling your products? It really depends on the product. It depends on the niche that you're in. It depends also it depends on the chronology, the timing. How you price your products for wholesale sales is entirely up to you, but there are a number of formulas you can use, such as cost-based pricing or value-based pricing. So CBP or VBP. So when we talk about cost-based pricing, it depends also. I mean, if you are interested, let us know in the comment section and we'll further explain. It will be too long to actually explain here, but it's pretty straightforward. And so how to sell your product better in retail stores once you're there? Well, you want to think about better placement. You want to think about packaging and visual desirability. And you want to think about training store staff. Those three things are really quite essential if you want to bring in more revenue over time. Better placement, packaging and visual desirability, and training store staff. Now that you have a relationship with a retail store, you will want to concentrate on improving this aspect, and this can be done via quarterly catch-up call meetings, on-site visits, and working with your marketing team to improve your product designs and desirability. Okay, so that's important because approaching retail stores to sell your product is a long-term initiative, and you have to actually consistently work at it, improve it, look at what works, what doesn't work, and change things as you go along. Because knowing how to approach retail stores to sell your product is very important for your wholesale distribution efforts, especially in the beginning. Selling wholesale to retail customers can be very rewarding because you can see your product in real stores and real customers can actually come and try it and interact with it. It can generate great brand exposure and give you access to local audiences you might never have been able to reach. Think of it as like having a team of people selling your products into markets you would normally never have been able to reach. So being a wholesaler and a retailer is actually a smart strategy and one that can help your business grow, but it's all about how you position yourself and how you actually execute your strategy. So in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about how to approach retail stores to sell your products. I give you the introduction, the strategy, the techniques, the extra info, and now the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.